I am a musician because there was music in the Los Angeles public schools when I grew up, and only because of that. Everything I am is because when I was growing up, there was music in the public schools. I come from a family of Central European immigrants, people who were dedicated to education, who were hardworking and emotionally dark, and had no artistic pretensions whatsoever. They knew very little about classical music, and there was little of it in my household growing up. We had no musical instruments in the house. My parents listened to jazz, to Alan Sherman, to Mantovani. I became interested in composing through an educational accident at my public elementary school, and it turns out to be very revealing of my personality in an embarrassing kind of way. When I was 9 years old, on a rainy day in elementary school, it was too wet to have recess in the schoolyard, so they put us in the auditorium and showed us a movie to keep us quiet. It was a young person's concert of Leonard Bernstein and the New York Philharmonic playing Shostakovich's First Symphony. Bernstein turned to the movie audience and said, "Now children, Shostakovich wrote this piece when he was 19 years old and became world famous overnight." And I remember thinking, I have 10 years. But that's because everything I am is because when I was growing up, there was public music in the schools. There was music in the public schools. My public elementary school had a small band program, and I borrowed a trombone, and the band director showed me how to play it. In my public junior high school, I played in the orchestra, the wind ensemble, and the jazz band. In my public high school, I played bassoon and cello in the orchestra, horn in the wind ensemble, trombone in the jazz band, sousaphone in the marching band, and I would even get to school early every day so I could play bugle before the flag raising every single morning, because that's how big a nerd I was. The funny thing was, I spent all this time making music, but I never thought that I was going to be a musician. I just thought it was a part of my life. It was just normal. I was a chemistry major in college, and I was pre-med, programmed from birth to be a doctor, like my father. And in college, while studying chemistry, I added more types of musical activities. I sang in a Gregorian chant choir in a local church. I started in a music ensemble. I got a tuxedo and a fake book and played cool jazz standards in a combo in a nightclub with a brandy snifter on the piano for tips. And I am happy to say that 38 years later, the tuxedo still fits. In fact, I know it fits because I wore it 2 weeks ago, walking down the red carpet at the Cannes Film Festival, where they premiered the new Paolo Sorrentino film, Youth, in which Sir Michael Caine plays the world's most beloved composer, and I got to write all of his music. When I got the job to write... When I got the job to write that film score, my wife, who knows me very well, told me that I should write my Academy Awards acceptance speech now, so that I would be prepared if I made it that far. And so I did. And I really hope I win, because it's a killer speech. And the great thing about it is that after the thank yous, it says, "Everything I am is because I learned music in the public schools." Excited about the possibility of saying that on national television. I have no idea if that's going to happen, but if anyone is a member of the Academy, I bring this up because I have 3 children who have grown up and gone through the New York City public schools. These were great schools with dedicated teachers, innovative curricula, My kids made friends, they learned things, they went on to good colleges. It sounds like a success, right? Not one of my kids' public high schools had an orchestra, a band program, a jazz band, a marching band. I don't care so much that they missed the chance to become committed musicians or professional musicians in the same way that I did. What I think more is that they missed the chance to learn the other things you learn when you play music with other people. How to share, how to cooperate with people you may not know or like, how to listen to other people, how to support other people when they need your support, how to value yourself both for individual qualities and for your contributions to something larger than yourself. Musicianship is citizenship. To me, this is music's highest power. It joins both the people who make it and the people who hear it into a single temporary community, a momentary utopia in which everyone is needed and everyone has a role to play. For me, the sounds that people make in any kind of music are much less important than how people come together to make them. That's the part we crave. That's essential. That we need fundamentally as people, in which in the rest of our lives we almost never get. Musicianship is citizenship. At this point in the original, more depressing version of my speech, there were several incendiary paragraphs inserted here about how many forces in our world seem designed specifically to keep us from imagining ourselves as part of some larger, more cooperative whole. We have politicians who divide us, media who divide us, religious leaders who divide us, laws that divide us, schools that divide us, neighborhoods, incomes that divide us, opportunities that divide us. We are a very unequal society. And because we are divided, we are increasingly less likely to have meaningful, equal exchanges with people who have different backgrounds than we do, who have different ideas than we do, who have different cultures, who have different values. Separating us by our differences makes us meaner as a people. As we divide ourselves up into smaller camps, we obscure our ability to see how connected we are to other people. And when we lose our sense of connectedness, we lose compassion for each other. And I suspect we lose the hope of democracy as well. So the stakes are really high. Musicianship is citizenship. Music is inherently about finding the proper balance between the ideas colliding, between differences among people, between the individual and the group. Young people playing music feel at the same time both the tensions and the resolutions of these collisions in every rehearsal and every performance. Making music is essential for all of us, but particularly for young people, because making music in a group is the perfect laboratory for demonstrating how it feels to be valued both as an individual and as a member of the whole. A piece of music is itself a utopia in which everyone can feel needed and useful, and what other aspect of the current world we live in has the power to make young people feel that way?